Have you ever just wanted to be a bed rotter, a couch potato, someone that doesn't do anything at all? You just sit there and just stare at the wall. That's the way I feel about reading right now. I don't want to read a book. I just want to sit on my phone and scroll on TikTok and let my brain turn to mush. But I know that is the most probably unhealthiest thing that a person could do right now. Y'all, my fall reading slump is so real. I have barely touched anything this whole year. I probably just read one self help book, barely two fiction books. I have been on TikTok in an unhealthy amount of time. I had started on TikTok saying that I was going to be on there for about 5 minutes, and I looked up at the clock, and a whole hour has passed of me just scrolling. And I want to confess, I read way too much Wattpad reading fan fiction. Does fan fiction even count as real reading? I don't know. I guess you could say that I'm not a real reader at all. I haven't read a Jane Austen book, Alfred Hitchcock, Stephen King book. I guess you could say, y'all, I'm not a real reader at all. And that's really weird coming from someone that wants to be a writer. And I guess you could say I've been in a reading slump for years, apparently. And I need to get back on the reading track, because how can I say I want to be a writer if I haven't invested time into reading really good books? So that is the whole point of this video. If you have been in a reading slump, y'all haven't touched the book in God knows how long, this video is for you. We're going to help each other get back into becoming a reader. We're going to no longer become mindless, just scroll on TikTok all day long, wasting time staring at our TVs, watching Netflix. We are going to become readers. When I give tips, I am not going to give tips and I'm not going to apply it myself. And one of the things I would tell myself, and I would tell anyone else in my life, if you want to get out of the reading slump, read what you love. Don't worry about what people are reading on Book Talk. Forget about what's trendy right now on social media, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to read it. You need to focus on the books that you actually want to read, because you know what type of genre you love, you know what type of trope you like, what elements you like in the book. Go back to the things that made you fall in love with reading in the first place. Even if it's not that popular of a genre or that popular of a trope, if you like it, then you read it. And one of the things that I like to do, I did this before when I was trying to figure out what books I want to read. I make a list I just brain dump everything I want in the book, everything I want, what type of characters, what type of setting, genre, what type of vibes. Just brain dump everything you want to read in your book. What is everything you would want to read? And then what you could do with that list, and even give it to ChatGPT and say, Chat, give me a list of books that fit this description of what I like in books. And it will just give you a list of every single book that will hit the criteria you gave it. And you can even go on TikTok and search up books that match your description. And for me personally, I know this book right here is trended. I get that it's trending around this time of year, but I really want to get in a cozy fall vibe. Personally, I love fall. I love coziness. And sometimes I like a little bit of cheesy Hallmark romance. But that's why I found this book. I found it at Walmart. I already got a head start of it a few nights back. I only read but 2 pages of this book, and then I just called it a night, and I haven't picked it up since. And I want to use this video to try to sit down and just read maybe 1 or 2 chapters of this book. I heard a lot of good things about it, and I want to see for myself why it was so hyped up and why it was so good. You know how it feels when you have a long day and when you get home, you sit down, maybe turn on the TV, get some cozy clothes, or maybe you scroll on your phone for a while. That's the way I want reading to feel like. I want reading not to feel like a homework or something that I have to do. I want reading to feel like it's just like a cozy, relaxing spa day, or it's like my self-care moment. And what I like to do, I want to light a candle. I want to grab myself a blanket and make a cup of coffee, put on a fireplace, or maybe a lofty appliance on my TV. I want to just get comfortable when I read. Your brain starts thinking, oh, it's no longer a task anymore, something that she gets to do, she gets to enjoy. Because in your brain, you're like, oh, you don't see it as a chore anymore or a task. You see it as something relaxing you get to do. And then you start to look forward to that thing. I'm learning when it comes to reading or doing anything, you can't just go from not doing it at all to all of a sudden you're just doing something. I'm learning now that you got to start small, and I think the same thing applies with reading. We can't just go from not hardly reading at all to reading a big old thick textbook level book. It's unrealistic. So What I started doing to help me, I used this habit tracker app and I set a timer. I would just read a book just for 30 minutes and maybe 10 minutes a day or maybe 5 minutes a day. Another thing I started doing, I started reading short stories. I started going back and reading short stories that I read in high school. And one of the short stories was Mask of the Red Death and Telltale Heart. And I remember in the Black Cat too. I don't know if y'all read those in high school. And I actually enjoyed reading those short stories. So I recommend reading short stories. I don't feel like enough girlies do this, but I love reading a good comic book. I love reading Justice League, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. But it's been so long since I read a comic, y'all. And back in college, my freshman year, I was going to do this thing where I collected comic books, but I haven't done that in a minute. I stopped for some reason. So I definitely want to get back into reading comics. And I don't think they just make straight up superhero comics. I used to love reading webtoon, y'all. There was this romance story I read called I Love You. And there was another one, I can't remember the name of it, but there was 2 webtoon comics that I was obsessed with. It wasn't about superheroes or anything. It was romance. I'm just saying, not all comics and manga are just straight up superheroes. There's also romance and cozy vibes. So if short stories aren't for you, look at a comic. And I know maybe some people be like, Hannah, that doesn't count as true book novel reading, but it's better than nothing. So I recommend just look into some good comics, try webtoons, and I forgot to say this, a lot of short stories on Wattpad. They even have Jane Austen books on Wattpad, 1984, Gulliver's Travels. They have so many classic books on Wattpad. I was surprised. And guys, they're all free. So when life be life, or you have a busy schedule, you have kids, family, work, and all that stuff, sometimes the best way to read is at night. And honestly, sometimes I enjoy the late nights of just reading a good book. I remember when I used to read a lot, mainly just fanfic. Honestly, I felt like that was the perfect time for me to read undisturbed because everybody's going to bed. The world is quieting down. No interruptions. No one's blowing up your phone with notifications. Social media is a little bit quieter with notifications. It's the perfect time to pick up a book and read. And if you struggle to read at night, I recommend you just put your book against your pillow. Put your book against your pillow so you can see, oh, that's the first thing you see when you come to bed. Oh, I gotta read. And charge your phone in another room. Don't bring your phone into bed. Your bed should be a no phone zone. And finally, I would say, change your environment. When you stay in the same place for too long, you start to feel kind of drained and uninspired, uncreative. For example, when I was writing, I write at home a lot, and then when I go out into Starbucks or the library, I feel a little bit more creative because I guess I've been in the environment slump or rut. And when I get out of the house, I feel like a spark of inspiration. I feel like I got more energy. So I think it's just best to change up your environment from time to time. Changing your environment can break the monotone. Sitting in the same place all the time can make reading feel kind of stale. A new location, to me, it just gives your brain a refresher. And I don't know about y'all, but sometimes when I change my environment, it helps reduce distractions. Because when you're at home, y'all, I guarantee there's going to be someone that walks in and interrupts you for a question or they need help with something or whatever. I'm telling you, if you have a lot of people that live in your house and a lot of commotion, I would say use your reading time to get out the house. Trust me. And changing your environment, like going outside, sitting out in the sun, and you just smelling the fresh air, it just improves your mood. I have been inside all day before once, and I went outside in the sun and sat down for a few minutes. My mood just instantly got better. I got a little happier. And when I am in these different locations, y'all, and it makes me just want to read even longer because it forces you to finish your reading session. You just want the session to go on longer rather than cut it short because you already made the commute there to the environment. And then your mind is like, it'd be kind of a waste of gas, money, and energy just for me to just show up for just a few minutes and then leave. You're going to want to stay longer and read longer. Earlier this year, I had this crazy goal to read close to 25 books this year. I guess to mark the year 2025. And now I'm looking back, I think that's just kind of silly. I think reading should be a slow and enjoyable moment. I like to do slow reading to absorb the characters, the setting, and the world. And I don't want to rush through a really good book. And I know some people that read a book, they start a book at the beginning of the week and they're done with it before the week is even over. And I'm like, it takes me a couple weeks. And I think that's okay. There's no shame in just reading just a few books a year. And I used to feel bad that I don't read too many books, and I never really read a Stephen King book. Reading is not some competition. Reading is supposed to be fun. But I hope you like this video, guys. That's it for the video. I'm definitely going to use these tips to help me get out of the reading rut. I want to read more before this year ends, and I want to stay off scrolling so much and take a break off binge watching Netflix. There's nothing wrong with just wanting to relax and look at a few TikToks or YouTube videos, especially after you had a long day. Because trust me, guys, that's what I want to do a lot of times, just laying back and just scroll on TikTok. But at the same time, we should do everything in moderation and not go crazy and put up our doom scrolling time up to 6 hours a day. So with that being said, y'all, if you love videos like this, do me a favor and subscribe and leave a comment below and tell me your thoughts. What books have you read this year so far, and what books do you plan to read to get out of the reading slump? And with that being said, y'all, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.